I'm Daniel Rosales, like you guys just heard. That was good stuff, Paul. Paul pretty much covered a lot of the phone stuff. I'm not going to go into the script. Okay, if you guys want to hear my script, it's on YouTube. It's on the West Coast page. If you guys go to FFL West Coast and you go to videos, you guys will see me and Paul on a podcast going back and forth on role play. What I want to do for you guys today is kind of give you guys really like in-depth tips that are going to help you on the phones, help you every dial day, and really help you guys hit that, that income that you're looking to make. So how many agents are in here that have been here for under 90 days? Under 90 days? Okay. How about around 30 days? Any like brand new agents? Okay, got it. So I want to talk about something that's really important before you even get into the phones is leads, right? So the leads, you need to have leads on dial day. Okay, and I can't stress this enough because there's a lot of agents that never even get started dialing the phone for the reason that they never take action on purchasing the leads. Okay, so what we have here at FFL, and I think that that's what made the big difference for me on the phones last year, was there's a lot of companies out there that they're just going door to door. They're working business with their family, their friends, cousins, that kind of stuff. So when you realize the opportunity we have here at FFL, and I think that that's what helped me attack the phones like I did because I just did the math, right? The comp levels that we have here, and if you know, with one family, what that is going to do for you financially, then it's really going to give you that motivation and that drive that you need every dial day to really understand that, first of all, this is the best place to be. It's the best deal in town, right? Financially, and also being able to help families, right? There's a lot of purpose in this business. So on dial day, guys, you don't want to have 20 leads, 15 leads. Sometimes when we go into CRM, and I was the same way when I first got started, I thought that if I just buy 5 instance or 10 instance that I'm going to help 8 families out of 10. It doesn't work that way. You guys have to make sure that you put the numbers in your favor. Internet leads, it's a type of lead that people are filling out online, and typically these people do fill out more than one form. So you're going to get certain objections on the phone that they're not interested any longer, they already took care of it, those kind of things. But the main thing here is making sure that you have enough leads to dial so that you can take the emotion out of dialing, right? Because you don't want to have a lot of emotion when you're dialing. As far as someone hangs up on you or someone tells you, something that you don't like, you don't want that to affect the rest of your day because it could. It could right away take you out of the drive of even wanting to continue on that day. You might just make excuses because of what you're dealing with and stop dialing altogether. So that's real important. And the way that I took emotion out of dialing for me was that I just made sure I had enough leads every dial day. So being prepared on dial day is super important when it comes to hitting the phones. Now, final expense lead, is everyone familiar? Who's not familiar with a final expense mail lead? Here, is everybody pretty much familiar with those? Okay, so most of those leads you could buy from the CRM. They're aged 3-month-olds, 1-month-old leads. So the only difference, and that's why I said I'm not going to get too much into the phone script. I'll answer some questions if we have time in the end. But really, what I wanted to get across was that an internet lead to a final expense mail lead, it's really the same kind of phone call. The only difference is how they filled out the form, right? One of them they filled out in the mail, and another one they filled out online on Facebook or social media, something like that. So the phone script typically stays the same. The only difference you're making is just when you're saying you're getting back to them is how they, what you got back from them. What request? Was it online or was it through the mail? So that's really the only difference there. So that way you guys can know when you guys are going on the CRM and purchasing leads. The final expense 1-month-old, 3-month-olds, those ones were filled out by hand. Okay, so just to keep in mind for that, I think that's kind of important. But I'll go over objection handling. I think that's going to be, for those of you that are new, probably even you've been here a little bit longer than 90 days, typically you're working internet leads because they're the most affordable leads. So those leads that you work are going to have typically a little bit more objections, right? You're going to hear the not interested. You're going to get hung up on sometimes. You're going to hear, I already took care of it. Okay, what Paul mentioned earlier, it's really 100% right. It's like we're the field underwriter. We're not a sales agent. We're not a sales rep. So when we call these clients, whether they took care of it or not, our job is just to get them the information so they can know what their options are, what's available to them, right? So we want to make sure that, they just get all the different options, whether they're not interested, whether they already took care of it. It's always the same response, the same rebuttal. It's, hey, that's perfect, John. I completely understand. I'm actually happy you took care of it. Most people never get around to even taking care of this, so that's good you took care of it. I'm actually just the underwriter, so my job is just to make sure that you're receiving all your incentives and benefits with your plan, and make sure that it's state regulated, and that everything was done properly by the underwriter that went out to see you or the agent that helped you. So it usually takes 5-10 minutes. I'm going to be down your street anyways tomorrow, and tomorrow and Wednesday. I have this time or this time. So any objection, it's always the same, right? You're always agreeing, you answer shortly, and then you go back and ask a question. Okay, so that gets you back in control. So I think it's real important because I think, as a new agent, and I can say this for myself, you can get carried away sometimes when you're talking to clients. And you right away get into trying to price them a product or trying to talk about insurance, and you go down this road that ends up just leading them to like, oh, you know what, I'm actually fine, and there's nowhere else you can go from there once you take it down that road. Okay, so if you guys can remember when you get started dialing the phone that you're an underwriter, that your job, and it's true, I mean, that's really what we do. And you guys that haven't went out and seen a ton of families yet, you're going to see that that's really true. We have to go and see if these people can qualify. You're going to run into a lot of people. I didn't even know that many people have diabetes, but geez, I mean, diabetes is a real thing. A lot of people have it. You're going to run into high blood pressure, COPD, a lot of health conditions that you're going to have to underwrite them to know which way to go, which direction to go. And the good thing is there's good tools out there right now that you can get, which good tools like for the in-home would be insurance toolkits. It's a good tool to have when you're in the home. For those of you that are nervous, how many of you have nervous dialing right now? Kind of nervous dialing, kind of don't want to dial and go, you're not sure how that's going to look, right? So sometimes being nervous will keep you from picking up the phone and dialing a lead, right? You just kind of never dial the phone, and that obviously keeps you from getting out there and helping families, right, and making money. So it would be good for you to get a system like Ringy or Phone Burner, because it takes that away. If you just upload your leads and hit start dialing, it's going to dial the phone for you. So it kind of takes that out from you having to dial every number. So I would recommend using a tool like that. I really want to kind of interact with you guys a little bit, kind of see where you guys are at on the phones, because I know everybody is at a different spot. Does anyone have any questions regarding phones? Maybe some objections that they've had trouble with? Maybe tie downs? Is there certain things that you guys have questions on? Oh, go ahead, Jeremiah. For internet leads, yeah, I think the main thing is this. Like internet leads, yeah, they're going to be a little bit different than mail, right? Mail typically is easier set because they're filling out it by hand. It's more memorable. They kind of come back to that. They know where it came from right away. Internet leads, it's still going to be just as good. The difference really is just you just have to make sure your tonality is there, right? Your tonality is so important when you're on the phones. You can't be too fast or too, you can't talk too fast, too high. You got to kind of just be, hey, I'm just getting back to you about the information. And I think your expectation, Jeremiah, to that question, it could be around the same, really. I mean, if you're attacking the phones as you should be, and you're hitting the script the right way, you're not getting off track, you're letting them know your job's just to get them the information. I mean, the people, who's not going to want information, right? If you let them know, like, hey, listen, I actually don't sell insurance. I'm just the underwriter, so I just underwrite for the companies that do. My job's just to get you the different options so you know what's available for you. So I'm in your area anyways, down the street, helping out a couple of your neighbors getting this information. So it's going to take like 5 minutes. I can get it to you. I have either this time or this time. I can't make any promises. I could probably squeeze you in, but we're really backed up right now. So what time would work better, right? So not becoming too available when it comes to dialing the phones is important, because if you're too available, then that's when people will try to jack you around and not, you can't lock them down for anything. And even if you think you have an appointment, typically that's where more no-shows come from. But I would say, like, out of internet leads, if you dial efficiently and if you're hitting the phones and you start at the right time in the morning and you just keep moving, you take the emotion out of dialing, you have enough leads on dial day, I think you could book, 15, 20 appointments. I think have 65 to 100 leads, whether it's 1 month old, 3 month olds, just make sure you have a good amount of leads to dial through. Does anyone else have any other questions? You had a question, Elizabeth? I don't do telesales. I do hybrid more. I don't do all telesales, but I like Ringy a lot since I've been using it. I like the fact that I don't know if Phone Burner has it because I didn't use that too much, but on Ringy you could record your calls. So as you're dialing and you're calling your leads, you can record every call. So what you could do then is those calls that are recorded, you can go to your upline or someone that has been in the field that's been producing at a high level, and you could have them listen to your call, and it'll be easier for them to kind of coach you on maybe some things you could adjust and change. So I think that's a really cool feature that's on Ringy that I've noticed. And I think it's a little bit cheaper than Phone Burner. And it also, I noticed it categorizes your leads. I'm not sure if like I said, I didn't use Phone Burner last year. I dialed 2 phones. That's just the way that I did it. But I think Phone Burner is a great tool, especially for those that know they're not going to be efficient at dialing their phone and know that, it's going to take the thought process out where you can just put your leads in, hit start dialing, and just let it go for you. Does anyone else have anything else? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Mondays and Thursdays are obviously like the FFL dial days. Those have been the dial days that have been kind of set since I got started. That was just something that I came into. But if you have somebody coming in part-time and they can only, I don't know, if their schedule's a little bit different, the rule of thumb is really just like if you're going to book appointments, even if you could only dial on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, whatever day that is that you could dial, you want to book your appointments for the next 2 days, right? So you just want to make sure you don't book people out too far. Like if I'm talking to you and I book an appointment with you, and then you tell me you're available Friday, and I'm calling you Monday, it's too far out typically, unless you're really good at making your tie downs, and maybe it's a male lead, and you built a really strong, a strong connection with the clients where they know how important it is. But I usually wouldn't push out appointments more than the 2 days. So I hope that helps answers your question. New agents, just you want to make sure that you put the appointments no farther than 2 days if you're out in the field. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, so honestly, like some of the things that I do on the phone as far as tie downs is really just helping them visualize that I'm coming over. I think that helps the best. So like, when I'm going towards the end of the call, I'll ask them if they have any big dogs out in the front yard, any dogs that are going to chase me when I get there. Do you have any gates I need to get by? And I'll kind of describe a little bit about, who I am. I'll tell them I'm almost 30, but a lot of people say I look like I'm 19. So if you see a young guy walking up, you can put your shotgun away. I'll say things like that, kind of make myself a little more human in the end. So just tie downs really just having them visually, see me coming to their door. And then, of course, grab a pen and paper so you can write down my information and kind of get that stuff going for them. You had a question again, Elizabeth? Or does anyone else have any other questions regarding the phones? Yeah, like Paul said it, this business, the most important thing here is the phones. Like, you want to get good on the phones. I know a lot of times as a new agent, we focus on getting good in the home, and sometimes we think that it's all about the in-home, it's all about the product, it's all about how you're going to sit down with Bob and Mary, but really the phones is everything. So you want to make sure the phones, that you got that down, because if you got the phones down and you got appointments set and you make them concrete, like it's not that difficult in the home because the people requested the insurance. They have an intent to buy insurance. So once you get there, whatever they gave you on the phone, it's not the same when you get in the house. It's different. They know you're there to get them insurance, right? So as far as oh, okay. I would say for no-shows, obviously maybe proper tie downs. You're not tying it down enough. You need to get it across on how important it is, right? The information that we're getting to them is what they had requested, and how important the information is that we're going to take out to them. And sometimes I think when we try to make quick sets on the phone, and we want to just count appointments, and it makes us feel good because like, oh, I got 6, but you really just made like a really quick set appointment on all of those. So then you end up going out your field day, and then nobody's there. And then naturally you're going to blame the leads, you're going to blame the people, but really it's because you didn't do what you should have done properly on the phone when tying down those appointments and calling those clients. So I hope that helps, guys. Is any other questions? You guys have any other questions? You had one? that like you scheduled the appointment and they called you to reschedule? They called you on the day you were supposed to go see them, and you picked up the phone? Yeah, I usually wouldn't pick up the phone. I usually would just go straight to them. So maybe stop picking up the phone. Like like if you're going out in the field, if you're doing telesales, because I have done the hybrid approach where I set appointments to talk to them on the phone, and they don't answer and they keep texting and saying they want to reschedule it for another time. I don't know. I think when it comes to me closing over the phone, I like the one call close. I really am not a big fan of appointments on the phone. I just try to get them to find time real quick. I'll just tell them, hey, it takes 5-10 minutes. Let's just take care of it. Go ahead and grab a pen and paper. So I think being more direct with people and kind of guiding them on what to do, not asking them, does it work right now? Are you available right now? Don't ask them, like, are they available? Like, you're busy too. You have a lot of people to get back to, and you don't have a lot of time, but let's go ahead and knock it out for 10 minutes while I have you on the phone. It'll be really, really quick. That way we don't have to, go through this because we're getting backed up. And I really don't know if I can get back to you next week because we have so many requests coming in. So again, it's just urgency. So bringing that urgency to them, to the client, then it'll help you not get those reschedules. I hope that helps, guys. Thank you.